business is just like doing the trade. It's just a different trade, right? You got to understand financials and how to read them, just like you would read blueprints, right? You can read a blueprint and I could hand me a set of blueprints and I don't need anybody to explain to me what's going on and what needs to be done. Hand me a set of financials and I don't need anybody to explain to me what's going on and what needs to be done. So I learned how to take the fix it, work with my hands and fix things to the business aspect of it. So if we don't have enough calls, how do we fix that? If we don't have high enough revenue, how do we fix that? If profits are low, how do we fix that? So my fix it mentality is translated very well over to business.
Hello, welcome to EdTech Leaders. Today we have Chris Crew, the president of the Blue Collar Success Group. We'll just jump right in. Tell us what you do.
So we are a coaching and training company. We specifically work with contractors, specifically in residential service, HVAC, plumbing, and electrical. And we work with all aspects of the business. The only thing that we really don't focus on is technical, meaning like how to actually do plumbing, how to actually do electrical, how to actually fix the air conditioner when it's not working. We assume because they're contractors, they at least know how to do that.
So you train them and help them to run the business, do marketing, scale the business, all of the other things besides the plumbing or electrical, all of that, right?
Yeah. So really, our core focus is understanding what is the contractor's goals. And I'm a contractor myself, by the way. So let me make sure that people don't feel like I'm speaking negatively about our clients and our industry. I'm an electrician by trade. I've been in the industry for 30 years. I'm a master licensed electrician, previously owned and operated my company and sold. One of the things that I learned is that not all contractors have high levels of business acumen. And typically they're good at the trade, but they're not always great at the business. And so, where do they learn that from? They learn it from people they work from. They learn it from friends. And so the Blue Collar Success Group founded ourselves upon being able to help contractors with the areas that may not make sense for them or areas that they're not great at, right? So we live in a world where you can just about outsource anything. And so we don't outsource anything. We're not outsourcing, or they're outsourcing to us. But what they're doing is they're asking us to help us increase their knowledge, asking us to help them to teach them the things that they don't know that they know. Example, like how to actually read financials, understanding what chart of accounts are, understanding what a balance sheet is and assets, and what are depreciating assets, and where should I spend my money. So that's kind of one component. The other component is around operations, and there's so much there, right? Recruiting, hiring, retention, culture, all of that. And then the sales component, we teach them how to be better salespeople. And sales is a very ugly word in our industry because there's a lot of stings and scams out there of, people saying things that need to be fixed, but they don't actually need to be fixed. Teaching them that you can do this with high levels of integrity.
How long were you an electrical contractor?
So I was I actually started in 1996 is when I started in the industry. So I'm coming up on my 30th year this year in the industry. So I started at a new construction company and, at a very young age. And then I owned and operated from the time I was 20 until about the time I was 24. I owned a company, and I was the classic candidate of really good electrician, no business acumen. Right. So I tell people all the time, my first business, I just owned a paycheck. I didn't really own a business because, I didn't know what I didn't know. My second stint of ownership, I had a gap in ownership where I went to work for a very large independent contractor that was very progressive minded. That company got bought out. And that was where I really started learning all of my business stuff. They were really good about teaching you the business component of the business. And so then transitioned in 2013, I left corporate America where I had kind of got my business education, if you would, and went to go own and operate. So I sold my shares of my business to my partner at the end of 2017. So about 4 years of owning. We took a small electrical company that was doing about $3 million a year to a run rate of $30 million a year.
So that's huge. And you get from that larger company that bought the company, and then you got training at that place, and that was enough. So you went back to your own contracting business, you were able to scale it up
Yeah,
and then obviously practice again while doing that.
yeah, and I tell people all the time, from 2008 to 2013, while I was in that, so it's a really crazy story, but 2005, I went to work for this contractor. In 2006, that company got bought. They franchised it, and then they needed people to help them run the business, and that's how I ended up into the corporate life. In 2008, I transferred into their corporate office, and from the time of October of 2008 till the about August of 2013, I tell people all the time, I got a college education that money couldn't buy. Like you couldn't have bought the education that I got. At one point, I was overseeing over $100 million of business, and when you're doing that, you learn a lot of lessons.
That's incredible. That's a big shift from, I mean, originally being an electrician
Yes.
to doing that. And you must have enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I'm an electrician because I was raised by my grandfather. My grandfather was a carpenter and worked with his hands, and so I've always had a natural skill of working with my hands, and I've always liked doing that. So the electrical gave me an opportunity to work with my hands. But what I also learned is that business is just like doing the trade. It's just a different trade, right? You got to understand financials and how to read them, just like you would read blueprints, right? You can read a blueprint, and I could hand me a set of blueprints, and I don't need anybody to explain to me what's going on and what needs to be done. Hand me a set of financials, and I don't need anybody to explain to me what's going on and what needs to be done. So I learned how to take the fix it, work with my hands and fix things to the business aspect of it. So if we don't have enough calls, how do we fix that? If we don't have high enough revenue, how do we fix that? If profits are low, how do we fix that? So my fix it mentality is translated very well over to business.
And at what moment did you say, you know what, I can make a business out of teaching other companies how to do this?
So so once again, in 2008, that was kind of where I realized I worked for the franchisor, helping contractors ultimately do what we do today, except for through the franchise business model. In 2013, the reason why I left that was because the guy that I originally worked for in Atlanta that sold his business turned around and bought a franchise licensing agreement from the franchisor of his own business, and he enticed me to come and be a partner with him. And so, that for me felt really good. I got an opportunity to kind of what I consider to be make it right. My first stint in business, I did not do well at all. And my second stint in business, I was able to do very well for myself because I had learned the hard lessons that need to be learning. And so in 2017, after I sold my shares to my business partner, I took some time off, but I'm not made to be retired. That's not what I'm built to do. And so I said, how can I get back into the industry and start giving back to the industry that's been so good to me and my family? And ta-da, here you go.
Hmm. Okay, so let's dig in a little more to the business. Give me some examples of some of the people you've helped and the companies you've helped.
Wow. So I used to have a personal goal, and I don't want this to sound brag or boastful, but because the industry had been so good to me, I had set some personal goals around. I wanted to be able to make and three people millionaires. That was my goal. How can I make three people millionaires in this industry? What I learned from that was when you have small goals, you get small results. I far exceeded the three people to become multimillionaires. Um, it's for me when I could tell you about a plumbing company that was cash flow poor, in so much that they had asked me when they joined the organization, hey, we can't afford monthly, cash flow is just not there, but would you be willing to set me up on weekly payments? Yeah, absolutely. We helped that company transform from being a home warranty company to being a true service company. I'm very very proud to say today that we helped him and his family become multimillionaires. And the cool part is, after he sold his business, now he's back at the door. I just was on a call with him earlier today. He's about to open another plumbing company, and he's soliciting our services again. He's a dear friend of mine. I could take a plumbing company that joined us, and in less than 4 years, they were an $800,000 company. They'll do $4 million in less. They have a 49.3 compound average growth rate year over year. I could share with you another company in Knoxville, Tennessee that started as a $0 business. They had no revenue. Within 4 years, they'll do $12 million this year. I could continue to tell you these stories time and time again, taking companies from -3% profit to 15% net profit. These are the kind of stories that I tell that really get me excited, because this is life changing, because it's not just the owner's life that's getting changed, it's everybody that works for that business's life is getting changed. And now the delivery of the service that they provide in the marketplace changes. So we're actually changing marketplaces by changing people.
That's really cool. Um, so someone calls you, they don't know what they don't know.
Mhm.
All they know is they're not making any money, or they're not making enough money. They call you up. How do you know? How do you figure out what needs to be fixed?
So we have a process here at the Blue Collar Success Group. We call it the Blue Collar Advantage. It's a 5-step process that we follow with any contractor, no matter their revenue size or no matter what their problems are. It's kind of like going to the doctor, right? You go into the doctor, you got a runny nose, or hey, I've got a kind of a pain in my side, or I've got this growth on my arm. Like, no matter what's going on, there's core fundamental principles that doctor does every single time. They're checking vitals, they're checking weight. They may go a little deeper in that. So the very first thing that we do with the business is we make no assumptions. The number one reason why a business fails is because they're not priced correctly, which means they have a lot of overhead, but they don't charge the correct price. Or it could be that they charge too much, and that could lead to failure as well. So we help them get priced right. When it comes to really diagnosing from there, it starts to be, what are the pain points in the business? What are the challenges that are going on? A lot of times people reach out to us thinking that they're having this problem, but we uncover this problem. So it's like this was a symptom of the real problem. And so, as the professionals, we diagnose the situation or diagnose the business, and that gives us a better sense of what are the next steps. And not all businesses are the same. Some of them, may be making a great profit, but they can't grow. Some of them may be growing but not turning a profit. Some of them the owner might say, I'm just tired of working all the hours. I don't want to work any more hours. I want to work under 40 hours a week. And that's the entrepreneur's dream, right? They want to be able to go start a business to create freedom. And what we typically find in this industry is, instead of building freedom, they build a prison, and they build it brick by brick, day by day, and they don't even recognize that they're doing it. And the only way to get out is for them to take different actions.
Hmm. It must be transformative, not only to the CEOs but to people working there.
Yeah, and that's the cool part. We have a massive amount of followers that tell us all the time, like, you guys have changed my life. And they'll, an electrician or a plumber or an HVAC or a CSR, a dispatcher, will attend some of our trainings, and they'll say, like, wow, this has opened my eyes up. It was just reading a testimonial the other day of a sales guy that said, I've been in sales for 30 years. And if I would have known what this class taught me 30 years ago, I probably would be on a beach retired somewhere.
Hmm.
So that, when you make that kind of impact, I mean, look, let me be very clear. I mean, we do what we do for the money. You got to be able to make money in business. Even not for profit companies still turn revenue, right? Because they have to be able to afford to fund it. But for us, and specifically, I'd speak for me, and I think I would speak well on behalf of my team. We do this because we get an opportunity every single day that we wake up. We get an opportunity to change people's lives, and that's pretty rewarding.
Yeah. So, when you started, I mean, you had a lot of experience when you started the Blue Collar Success Group. So, did it start working within the first year? How long did it take to get going?
So I'm going to back up for a minute.
Okay.
I don't actually own the company. I'm the president of the company. The owner
Okay.
of the company is a very dear friend of mine, and he started the business because he knew that there was a skill gap that he was trying to close. And as a contractor himself, he knew that contractors needed this help. So in 2018, when I joined the company, uh, that was really when I think Kenny, the owner, had decided like, all right, great, let's grow this thing, because a friend of his in his past said, look, Kenny, at some point you're going to decide that either you just want to be a high paid consultant or you want to build a business. And he decided to build a business, and to build a business, you have to have good people, right? So we're very blessed today to have what I consider to be some of the best in the industry at what they do.
Hmm. So what do you do? What have you done for marketing to get new clients for yourself, and how has that worked?
So it's been an evolution. Early in this business, our industry does a lot of industry events, and so as a trainer, as a coach, and as a speaker, these industry events will ask you to come and speak. And so it would, you come and you speak at an event, you teach a subject for a short time or a long time, and then they have an opportunity for people to come to you and talk to you to get more information. And so that was really the grassroots of marketing, right? It's just, guerrilla marketing at its best. And the challenge with that is that when that's all you do, you're tied to everybody else. And when we decided that we want to actually do this and stand on our own, we're not going to be dependent upon our relationships with some other company of whether they decide to use us or not use us. That was when really things really started to change. And so today for us, we continue to build our list through email marketing and through social media. The two most powerful things that we do today: social media marketing and email marketing. Those are our primary. And of course, we take referrals and your typical stuff. That doesn't mean that no other forms of marketing work, but I just would say this today: we have enough leads today. We don't need to spend any more money in anywhere.
Hmm. That's really cool. Any sort of challenges that you're going through right now, whether it's in the specific moment or challenges you're finding with growing, scaling, marketing, any of that?
Yeah, the number one challenge, and we tell our clients this: the number one thing that'll hold you back from growing is people. That'll be your number one thing. So if you can ever get the people component figured out, you'll be able to grow a business. And it's not just people; it's having the right people. And so we've grown quite a bit over the last 4.5 years. We've grown quite a bit in the last 4.5 years. But finding the right people, and it's because just because someone can do the job doesn't mean that they can work here. Our culture is our number one most important thing to us. Like, culture fit's super important. We want people that get up every day, that have purpose, that are driven to go do the work that's in front of them. And, example, not everybody is accustomed to that. Not everybody wants to do it that way. And if I had to say, the hardest position that we have to fill is our trainers. During busy season, they could be on the road 3 weeks out of a month. During busy season, for a stint of about 2 or 3 months, they could be on the road a lot. And it takes a special person to be able to do that. Early on in this business, I did it. Right, early on in this business, I did it. Even earlier on, after I did it, then we had other people that were doing it. Those people are now managers in this business. And so continuing to find people that are hungry, aggressive, and I say it all the time: everybody, because we make the job look very glamorous, right? From the outside looking in, it looks like a really, really cool job. Oh, you get to travel, you get to train, you get to speak, you get to do all this fun stuff. And I have a saying here, and it's a very common saying. I was like, everybody wants to be a rock star until it's time to do rock star stuff, right? And so the show is only a part of it, right? It's all the stuff that you got to do on the back end. And when we find the right people, they stick with us for a long time. And sometimes, people got to test the waters to find out if it's going to work for them. And it goes back to, could we find people that could do the job and that are culture fits? Yeah. But we're not just looking for warm bodies. Like, I'm looking for rock star people. And so sometimes rock star people are diamonds in the rough, and they need to be worked on. And so that's another thing that we do with people. Once we find the good core component, then we go to work getting them the skills that they need. So I would say, what's our number one challenge? People. Just like a service business, And quite frankly, like most businesses, right? When you got good people, good things happen.
How many trainers do you have?
Currently we have so let me articulate this. So some of our people are dedicated coaches. Some of our people are dedicated trainers. Some of them cross over from coach to trainer, and that's kind of what we would refer to as like the Swiss Army knife, right? They're capable of doing both. So today we've got three, four, five trainers.
Five trainers. What's the difference between a coach and a trainer?
The difference between a coach and a trainer is the coach is the business expert, right? They understand the business tactics. They know how to deploy them. This is crazy. You can have all the answers, right? And you can know what to tell people to do, but you've got to be able to position it in a way that people want to take action, right? So that's a unique gift that coaches have. A trainer is a little bit of a different skill set. The old saying is that the number one fear that human beings have, public speaking. As a trainer, you're getting in front of an entire audience as the subject matter expert and communicating and facilitating in some of our classes. 40 to 50, sometimes upwards of 80 people in a class. And we'll typically, when we have large classes of that, we'll put two trainers in the room at the same time. Our training is not just lecture style. Our training is also more of facilitation style. And what I mean by that is, teaching a concept and then asking the students and participants to then go to work to do that thing in the class. So we really focus on participant-based learning, not lecture style. So a trainer isn't just someone that knows the answers, but can get in front of an audience and carry the audience to teach the content.
Hmm. How many customers do you have?
Customers, we're well over 100 customers today, as far as unique businesses. Now, keep in mind that some of those businesses have multiple trades that work with them. We would just view that as one customer, right? Where maybe my competitors would say one business that does three trades is technically three customers. It's all about how you look at and slice it. And then in addition to that, some of our customers also have multiple locations. Other organizations might say, well, if someone, example, we have a client that's got 9 locations, they would count that as 9 customers. We count it as one. So for all intents and purposes, if we broke out our trades and broke out our locations to compare to our competitors, I would say we're north of 200.
Hmm. And do you stay with most of them for a long time, or some you just go in and kind of fix a problem and you're out in a couple of months?
Well, that's an interesting question, right? We take a page out of the cell phone industry. What I mean by that is the cell phone industry was driven by contracts, where they lock you in and you can't get out. Most coaching and training organizations that are out there today, specifically in my space, I can't speak for others, but they operate off of contracts, 1, 2, 3, and 4 year contracts. We don't even ask for a contract. Everything that we do is month to month. And the reason for that is because I tell my team this all the time. Every single month when they see their bank statement and they see how much money they paid us, I want them to be happy that they paid us that money and not paid us begrudgingly. So we don't have contracts. So because of that, our customers sometimes may decide at some point that they do want to leave and go somewhere else, or hey, this, this ain't working for me anymore, or hey, we're going another direction, and various things. People sell their businesses. Unfortunately, we've had some of our business owners that pass away, so we could lose members in very various ways. But our stick rate is very high, considering that we do not have contracts.
Right. How does someone find you? The bluecollarsuccessgroup.com?
Yeah, so just the easiest way is to our website, www.thebluecollarsuccessgroup.com.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Awesome. It was a pleasure. Thank you for having me on.